a lot of people that don't know about trans people often think it's about sexuality anyway. They think it's about when you change your gender that actually it's somehow rooted in the fact that you're attracted to a certain type of person. For example, with trans women, people often just assume that they're like gay men who are like extremely feminized in some way, but that's a really like narrow way of looking at things. And actually there's trans people's sexualities are just as diverse, if not more so, I think, than non-trans people. And I think that's to do with actually being more comfortable with not conforming with the way that society tells you to. So actually you think, why should I kind of conform in a way that is being dictated to me by my peers and my community? I'm going to kind of live the life that I want to live, and there's more determination around that. As a side note, I think there's a lot of conversations to be had and a lot more to learn about how we open up conversations in the trans community about sex and how to stay safe while having sex. Because there's also a culture, I feel like, where trans people are sometimes, and I'm guilty of this as well, not that it's anything to be guilty about, but are sometimes uncomfortable about talking about their bodies. And that makes sense if you think about the kind of journeys that trans people go through. A lot of people feel dysphoria and a disconnection and an actual dislike towards their own bodies. So it makes sense that people wouldn't want to talk about them. But actually, trans people are sexual beings. We're all sexual beings, and I think it's really important that we create a safe space for trans people to talk about their feelings towards sex, so that we can explore together about how we can all have the kind of sex that we want. And also I think it's just important to remember that actually there are some trans people have experienced trauma, and there's research to say that lots of LGBT people have experienced higher rates of sexual assault or negative experiences around sex. And I think that trauma really can be culturally significant if you're in a room full of trans people. Like it can be really visceral, and it can stop people from having an open conversation. So I'm really trying to, and also that's something that I've always also found personally. I find it difficult sometimes to talk about sex. But actually, especially if it's personal, I think if I'm in a work setting, I can talk about sex. I can teach people how to put condoms on. I've done it hundreds of times. But actually, if I would talk about my own sex life, it's something that I don't feel very comfortable doing. So I'm trying to push myself and learn more about my own boundaries within that, and actually encourage others to listen and be kind and to hear and to learn from each other. Yeah.